Hey y'all, I hope you're having a good day today. I just got out of the shower, that's why my hair is wet. I was thinking about something while I was taking a shower that I wanted to share with you all. This quote, I'm sure you've heard it before. It's never too late to be what you once might have been. And I've loved that quote ever since I was a little kid. I think that it often represented for me this feeling that I didn't hear many people talking about, that this feeling that I felt like I was almost missing my life somehow. Like after I graduated high school, I had this feeling that I didn't do high school right, that I somehow missed high school. After I graduated college, I had this feeling like I somehow missed college, even though I had a lot of wonderful experiences and a lot of great friends from that time period. I just had this persistent feeling that I was somehow missing out on my life, almost like this detached, sort of like I was floating above myself, watching a human live a life, but I didn't feel like it was the life that I wanted or the life that I was destined to live or dreamed of living. And I wanted to share with you this idea because I think so many people probably feel that same way. They feel like they've missed the boat, or it's too late for them, or they didn't do things the way they would have wanted to, whether it be in college or the job they chose, the career path they're on, the relationship, the one that got away, things like this. They feel like, they missed out or they messed up or they're stuck in a situation or a life that they just don't really want to be in. And I want to share a story or two about how it really does, as strange and as silly and as for those who don't believe in magic, it might sound impossible, but it comes down to this almost magical belief in yourself that you can change your life, that you can universe jump. The theory of the multiverse, where there's all these different layers of selves stacked on each other. There's the self version of you that became a professional race car driver. There's the self version of you that professed your love for that person that you never told. There's the self version of you in this other universe who is a professional skydiver. I don't know, whatever it is, but there's all of these versions of you and they do exist. And I truly believe that you can access them. And a lot of it comes down to this almost spell that you have to cast upon yourself, that you believe that it's possible for you. And I want to share an example. Maybe I'll share a few examples depending on time. But when I was in college, I was on the path to work for an investment bank. This is not the path that I wanted for my life. When I was a little boy, I didn't dream of being an investment banker. I didn't even know what an investment banker was. I didn't know what finance as a profession was. And I thought that people who worked desk jobs must have given away some sort of sacrifice, some sort of part of themselves in exchange for this consistent access to capital. And I sort of always had this kind of quiet promise within myself that I would never do that, that I would never be one of those people. And then lo and behold, I very quickly in college got seduced into becoming a banker. And I think because I didn't come from a high income background, suddenly having people offer me large sums of money to do really repetitive, boring work in an office felt like a revelation. It was like, wow, this is my ticket. If I just stick in it for a few years, I could be economically free. It's the thing that so many people who enter that profession say to themselves, and then they watch the years of their lives sift through their fingers like they're picking up sand on a beach. And I luckily was only in it for a very short period of time, but after my second position as an analyst with this one firm, I just realized I was tremendously unhappy. I was struggling with my health. I was struggling to get out of bed. I would go to the train in New York to take the train to work, and I would just have crazy thoughts about ways that I could get out of going to work. And I would do just anything to not think about my job. As soon as I would clock out, I would immediately go do something crazy, like go see a movie or go to a bar with friends or just do something that was totally a different pace. And I just wanted to escape a life that I felt like I had joined this conveyor belt, a life I really didn't want to be on. And I didn't know how to get out of it. I didn't know what to do. It's like I had already made the choices. I couldn't go back, like you can't go back. That's what I thought. And I was sitting, this was after the analyst position had ended. I had then been given a full-time offer to work at this firm, and I was back at this other job that I was doing as I was finishing up my college degree. And I was telling one of my advisors about this, that I'm about to start the slow, tread into this life that I'll never be able to escape. I'll be like those people in fancy suits who live in beautiful apartments that they're never able to even go to because they spend 100-hour weeks working in offices to make rich people richer so that they can afford those apartments. And that this wasn't how I dreamed of my life. This wasn't what I wanted for myself. I don't know how I got here. And this woman who was so kind, to her credit, said, well, what did you dream of your life? What did you want for yourself? What did you dream about when you were little? And I always dreamed of being a writer. I told her that I wanted to be a writer, and I just felt like I missed it. Like everyone else was, doing these intensive writing workshops and was writing novels and preparing for their life. And I had somehow missed that life, that somehow it wasn't for me because I didn't make those choices young. And she told me something that I have now read in countless books again and again, that when you are, whatever age you hear this message, it's never too late to course correct or go on a new path or dream a new dream or be what you once might have been had you allowed yourself to be what you had always dreamed. And I said, okay, well, what should I do? And she said, well, think about the one writing school that you would want to go to above all else. And at the time, I didn't know of many writing schools, but I knew that the Iowa Writers Workshop was an incredible school. And I was like, that's my dream. And she said, okay, we'll see what they have available. So at this point in my life, it's the new year, it's the winter of my final year of college. I look to see if they have any programs opening up, and they have a summer graduate program for a very small number of students. I believe they accepted only 5, and that they were going to have somewhere upwards of 1,000 applications, but I had missed the deadline. The deadline was a few days before. And so I looked at this website just so defeated, and I was like, see, it's just not for me. It's not going to work out. And she said, well, not if you have that attitude. She said, why don't you call their office and see if you can get them to agree to allow an application to be sent in the mail and arrive by Monday. And I said, but I don't have anything written. I don't know what I would even submit. And she said, worry about that later. First, let's make sure that they're going to take it. So I called the office, and they were like, absolutely no way. And I was like, you don't understand. Like, this is my dream, and I think that I'm supposed to go here. I think that this is the path I'm supposed to be on. And if I can't do this, if I can't even just submit the application, I might be on a life path to somewhere that I don't want to go. I might be doing a career path that's going to slowly suck the soul out of my body, almost like the Dementor's kiss in Harry Potter, where I'll still be alive, but almost worse than dead in a way, because I'll have given away all the parts of me that make me me. And she was like, okay, you're very weird. If you can somehow get a completed sample onto my desk on Monday morning, I don't know how you're going to do that, but if you're able to somehow do that, then I will consider reading your application. And if it's good enough, I will consider admitting you to the program. So I was like, thank you, that's more than enough. So I spent the rest of the weekend, because, right, this is an overnight thing that I need to figure out. And I knew that the post office was going to be closing on Saturday. I knew that it wasn't going to be open Sunday. She needs it on her desk Monday morning. So I'm calling post offices, figuring out, can I do an overnight parcel if I get it in right before the post office closes on Saturday? I find a post office, they'll do it. And then at this point, since it was a Friday at work, Saturday I have to have it in, I have somewhat like 24 hours to get a whole piece written and together. And I'm thinking, this is maybe my shot at living the life that I want to live. And so I go to the school's library, I turn off my phone, and I just lock in, and I start writing this story about this woman who, her husband has passed away, and she is finally getting the chance to live the life that she's always wanted to live. She's always journaled about and dreamed about traveling the world, but she's never been given the privileges or the opportunities to do so. And it's her letters to her deceased husband. And she's traveling to all the places that they talked about they would go before his untimely demise. And this just poured out of me, and I spent 24 hours just perfecting it. And I was like, this is as good as it's going to get. This is where my writing ability is now. I wrote my cover letter, I went to that post office, I sent it off, and I waited. And about a few weeks later, to my surprise, I got a call and an email that I had been accepted. And I almost didn't know what to think. I didn't know how to believe it. Like, this couldn't be. This was just some crazy fluke that me and my coworker were talking about on afternoon. Like, I'm about to go into this career that I hate, and I'm about to live a life that I don't want to live. I'm not going to get a chance to live my dream. That's crazy. And I was wrong. It wasn't too late for me. It wasn't too late to live my dream. And that summer ended up being one of the most exciting, exhilarating, intellectually stimulating summers of my life. A summer where I wrote so many stories, some of which are now published in literary journals. And that paved the way for me to then go back to school and get my Master of Fine Arts in fiction writing. And it started me on a completely new course. And a new path, I should say. And ever since then, my entire life has been spent doing projects and working on things and collaborating with people about writing, about video making, about content creation, about reading, about books. I now have relationships with major publishing houses who send me advanced copies of books. I now have agents who are asking to read my novel. I have stories that are published in big journals and in anthologies, in print anthologies that I can hold in my hand and see my name as the byline for a story that I wrote. And I'm finally able to live this dream that I didn't think was possible for myself. And the reason I tell you this is because there is another version of me in a different universe, a version of me that didn't make that call, that didn't have that conversation, that didn't ask for what I really wanted from the universe, that didn't allow myself to dare outside of the path that I had put myself upon. And that version of me is tremendously less happy than I am today. And so my only hope for you is that if you see this, that you have the bravery and the courage to do the thing that you want to do with your life. Life is so short. There are a million ways, as a famous poet once said, a million delicious ways that you can shorten your life. I believe Mary Oliver is the one that said that. Don't quote me on it. Or it's Maggie Smith from the poem Good Bones. I can't remember. But there's so many ways that you can derail your life or shorten your beautiful life, and we have no idea what's going to happen. We have no idea how much time we have. And so my advice to you is to tell the people you love how much you love them, and to love yourself enough to do what you want to do with your life. And even if you don't have money, if you don't have resources, start with whatever you do have, even if it's only a few minutes a day. For the longest time, I was convinced, because I didn't have any money, that meant that I wasn't going to get to live a life I wanted. That's why I was on that path to go into banking, because I thought that money would somehow cure me, that if I could somehow just make enough money, that I would somehow be whole, and then I would finally be able to live the life I wanted. And when I finally left that idea behind, that's when all my ideas started to flow. And I've had to work so many odd jobs that I never thought that I would be working in order to pay the bills. But my creativity could finally exist without the constraint of having to provide for me financially. And I've, since that period, been allowed to write and been given, through whatever external force is giving me words, so many stories and poems and novellas and novels that I would have never had otherwise, had I gone to that other quiet, sad life, working at a desk for 100 hours a week, wondering what my life would have been if I had just been courageous enough to say, I don't want this. So I hope that this story resonates with you. I was just thinking about this today while I was showering. Hair is starting to dry. I love you. I'm rooting for you. And I want you to win. I really do. And so I'm sending you good energy. And I hope that you will have the courage to make the decisions that you need to make to live the life that you want to live. And I love you. And I'll see you soon.